Hi, Dr. Shay. Good evening. How are you?
Good evening, I'm fine. Can you hear me?
Oh, the problem is that I can't hear you because I'm putting on a mic. I may have to take off my mic because I can't hear you. I think my
All
mic
right,
will
but
censor
can
every
people
sound
hear
coming from
me?
my phone. But I'm sure they can hear you, but I can't hear you. So I'm going to take off my mic. If you hear any sound around, I'm sure it's from the environment. So please bear with me. There is no light, it's generator. Can you hear me now? Hi, Dr. Shay. This is my special doctor. He's the man that helped me during my pregnancy for that little boy you see there. This is the special doctor. So if you are a woman, you are interested in anything that has to do with fertility, please listen to what this doctor has to say. Welcome, Dr. Shay. He has everything, has work today.
We thank God. Everything has been fine, except the issue of light anyway. I
I
think
think
that
it's
one
a
is a
general thing.
general problem.
Yes,
I
it
think it's a
is.
general issue.
Yes, it's a
How have
general
you
issue.
been too?
I'm very well, thank you. Thanks for asking. We are planning baby too very soon.
Yeah, no problem now. It's about time anyway. It's about time.
Abby, Abby. So, Dr. Shay, we started this 10 days challenge. Today is the 10th
Your
day.
voice is still a bit far.
Can you hear
You're
me?
still sounding a bit far.
Are
But
you
I can hear you,
serious?
but
Can
you're
you hear
sounding a
me?
bit far.
Okay, I'm sorry. I don't know, maybe because I took up the mic and I put it off back. I don't know if that's the reason, but can you pick
All
what
right.
I'm saying at all?
I will I will try and listen carefully so that I can hear you very well.
Okay, so we
All right.
started this 10 days challenge, water challenge. Today is the
All right.
third day. And as at today, somebody already testified that during the water challenge, since she started the water challenge, she used to have migraine, like headache, frequent headache. But since she started the challenge, the headache has subsided. Doesn't have that intense headache anymore. You understand? So I know, of course, there are benefits when it comes to every part of the human system, when it comes to water. So can you please enlighten us in 5-10 minutes on these benefits?
Um, Water is a very essential and a fundamental part of the body. Without water, I'm not even sure the heart can exist. One of the things that makes the heart special is because it has water. That's why when you see people, you see all these astrologists and all those people, they are looking for um, the planets. They are always looking for the planet that contains,
Water.
or is it astronomers? They call them astronomers. Yeah. So they are looking for the planet that contains water. So, and that is because water is very essential. Water is basically the building block, the foundation of everything. It's the foundation of the human body. The human body contains cells, and one contains billions of cells. And these cells comes together. These cells comes together to form a tissue, which come together to form organ, and organ form a system. So we have different systems in the body, but the water is the one um, that's actually the building block. So a cell contains water and other organelles. So if you look at human body, about 70% of the human body is majorly water, 65 to 70%. Every other thing now contains the cells and all those things. So water is essential. So a human being cannot do without water. We can do without food for a period of time, but we can't do without water for a long period of time. And that's why you see people will die of dehydration faster than they will die of hunger. So that is why water is very important. So these cells, they contain water, and between them they have water in between them. Water helps them to communicate between one cell to another. And if you look at the blood is fluid. The major part of blood contains water. About 80% of blood contains water, and that's why they can move through our vessels that are carrying oxygen, carrying nutrients. Then they take the toxins away from the body. They take it to the kidney, they take it to the liver, and with water in the urine, when it's going through the kidney flushes out some of these toxins, the liver flushes out some of these toxins. So water is a basic and important part of the body. It is the reason why our brain is functioning. If you look at the brain is even floating in what we call spinal fluid, or some fluid. The spinal cord has spinal fluid, the brain has its fluid, and this fluid communicate. They are water, majorly water. The brain cells contains water, and such the heart. Then we have the ovaries, we have the uterus, which is the womb, we have the testis, which has to do with male, which is the male organ. All this contains water. So the most important thing is that water helps with a lot of things: production of nutrients, transportation of nutrients, production of hormones that are important in the body. There are some hormones that are important in reproduction. They come from the brain, they go to where they are supposed to function, and these are because of the water that we have in the body. Detoxification of the body is because we have water. That's why we can detoxify a whole lot of toxins, unwanted products in our body. Water is important in communication of the body. So it's a basic fundamental nutrient. It's a nutrient and it's basic. So that's the major thing about water. So when we now look at it in terms of fertility, we can now say, okay, what is the function of water in terms of fertility? Like I said that water is in all these organs. Water is basically part of all these organs. It's even what joins the cells together and cause for interactions between these cells. So let's take the ovary for instance. Now, the ovary contains what we call follicles. Follicles are cells. These are the cells that will form egg in a woman. The eggs that the woman will grow and ovulate, that's the follicle that will start, and they are cells. Now, these follicles contain water. Now, the water helps the follicle to grow with the effect of other products, hormones and all those things. They help to grow and get to a point where ovulation occurs. And even when ovulation occurs, water is even essential in helping the egg and the sperm to meet. Because if you look at the organs, they are wet, they are not dry, and it helps with movement of all these. So water is fundamental in egg growth and ovulation of the eggs. Now, during the production of sperms, water is also basic, because if you look at the semen, semen contains water. In fact, semen contains about 70 to 80% water, and the other ones now contains the sperm cells, the nutrients and all those things. That is why when people have sexual intercourse, they will tell me that there is leakage of sperm. It's expected for sperm to leak back because it contains water. What is important is the sperm cells, or are the sperm cells that are inside the semen. So that is why it is very important. So water is important for the sperm and the semen to function properly. So if you see, that's why we always say that for each ejaculation, it should not be less than 2 to 5 mils. So if the man is not taking adequate water, it may affect the concentration of the sperm or the semen. So because water is essential, and one thing about the body is if there is lack of adequate water, if the person is dehydrated, body will take the water from all other places and direct them to the most important organ, which is the brain, because the person has to function. But once the brain is not getting adequate supply of nutrient and everything, the person will go unconscious and everything, the person can die with time. So that is why it is important to be hydrated, because water is important. So once the body takes the water away, that means there won't be sperm production again. So water is very important in production of sperms, and it's part of the sperm, it's part of the sperm, or it's part of the semen. So then one other thing is that the cervix, which is the doorway into the womb.
Yeah.
So when there is sexual intercourse, the semen is deposited into the vagina. Now, once there is deposition of the sperm cells, they start moving upward through the cervix, through the womb, to get to where the tubes are. That is inside the tube that they will meet with the egg and fertilize the egg. So this cervix also is important in fertility, because if the cervix is not hydrated, if it is not wet enough, the sperms will not be able to pass through it. The sperm will be dying, they will not be able to function properly, because the sperm has to move. So if the sperms are not moving adequately, then there won't be opportunity to fertilize the egg. So the cervix, we have what we call cervical mucus. That is why some people they use it to monitor when they are fertile. During their fertile window, some people use the cervical, they look for the egg white cervical mucus. Now the problem with it that if the person is not taking adequate water, you may not be able to have that discharge, that egg white discharge that you are looking for, because that is one of the reasons why a lot of women will tell me that they are not seeing the egg white discharge, that they cannot see their egg white discharge. Usually some of them don't drink adequate water, and they may be dehydrated, and the cervix may not get enough water to produce those egg white discharge. And if those egg white discharge are not there, those egg white discharge are even important for sperm to move up. They are important to help the sperms to help sperm movement. So if people are not taking adequate water, it can affect the cervical mucus. Then after there is fertilization, there is something we call implantation, because once the sperm fertilizes the egg, they start moving back into the womb, and then they implant. It's just like when you plant a seed, you open up the soil and you put the seed inside and then put the soil back. It's the same thing in the uterus. It's the same thing. It's just like you are planting the seed. So implantation also, if you plant a seed and there is no water, that seed will not germinate. It will not germinate, and that is why it is also very important that there is a need for adequate hydration for implantation to work and to be successful. And even if the fetus, if there is germination of the fertilized or of the implanted fertilized egg, and there is no adequate hydration, the baby itself can die.
Oh,
that is
wow.
why children they die faster when they vomit and stool, because they have a larger percentage of water in their body, so that if they lose that water, it affects them faster than it affects adults. So water is basic. It may look like it is something that is minute, may look like something that is not as serious. It's not serious, it's just water. But if you see people that are going through, people that are dehydrated, people that are having issues with getting water, in those places they don't, the women will likely not ovulate, and they will likely not get pregnant easily, because if you are not hydrated enough, a lot of things will not function in the body. A lot of things will not go well in the body, and the body needs to be optimal. The function of the body must be optimal before you can be able to say that you want to get pregnant, before the ovaries can start functioning well, before the uterus can function well. The body itself must be working optimally, and water is one of the ways by which the body works optimally. I think those are the major importance of water when it comes to fertility.
Okay, somebody, thank you, doctor. Thank you so much. I did all this information you just passed out. I'm sure I did not even know them. I did not know that water played a huge role with the whole, with from the process of trying to get the sperm to, be utilized properly, and also getting the body to also receive it. Also, I did not know that. I even saw somebody on the group today said that for some time, for 2 days, she may not even take water, or she takes very little water for 2 days. That is very, very scary. So I'm happy that we started this challenge, and I have learned a lot with what Rick also said. One thing I also want to ask is, when the woman finally gets pregnant, does water still help during this pregnancy? Because of course we know that the baby is formed up with water in the sac. So does it still need water to hold up the pregnancy? Do you think that water is very essential?
Yes, like I said water makes up a larger percentage in children. Water makes a larger percentage in children. So if there is no adequate water, it will affect the child. It's the same way to affect a baby that is inside the womb, because water is essential for the fetus in the womb. One, the fetus is surrounded by water. We call it amniotic fluid, and this amniotic fluid is produced majorly from the urine of the baby.
Okay.
The baby drinks it and urinates it out. That's majorly the thing in amniotic fluid. Then other things also produce, other organs also produce this amniotic fluid. The placenta produces the amniotic fluid. There are other parts of the inside the womb that produce the amniotic fluid. So if the woman is not well hydrated, we can infer that one, adequate nutrients will not get to the baby because the blood flow will be affected. If the person is not well hydrated, the blood flow will be affected. So adequate nutrients will not get to the baby. Adequate oxygen will not get to the baby, and it can affect the baby. So water is essential even in pregnancy. Sometimes when the amniotic fluid is not also being produced enough, we encourage the woman to drink water, because it can also improve production. Then in some instances, when some women have preterm contractions, or they have undue cramps in pregnancy because of the level of oxytocin in their body, we encourage them to drink water. Urinary tract infection, we encourage them to drink water, because water helps to reduce all these problems. If you are not having adequate water, if you are dehydrated, you can have fever. The temperature of the body can increase, and when the temperature increases, because water is important in regulation of temperature.
Yeah.
So if water is low, if the person is dehydrated, it can increase the temperature of the body, and when the temperature of the body increases, it can tilt the woman to have preterm contractions. And from preterm contractions, if adequate input are not put in place, adequate interventions are not put in place, the likelihood that can lead to preterm delivery is there. So water is essential too in pregnancy.
Okay, thank you, Doc. And during the challenge, before we started, I think somebody asked me and said, somebody breastfeeding, can the person join the challenge and take water as well? So I said yes, of course, because I think I remember one time you actually encouraged us during our classes in water for lactation. So can you throw a
Yes.
little light on that?
Um, yes, in lactation, water is important because breast. That's why we tell women for the first 6 months, the baby does not need anything than than the breast milk, because the breast milk contains everything. Is majorly water. So if the baby is thirsty, just give the breast milk. The breast milk contains water, it contains the nutrients that the baby needs, it contains the antibodies, the antibodies that will help the baby to fight infection. The baby, except the baby is actually down with infection, baby do not really need to be given, they don't need to be given antibiotics, they don't need to be given drugs, except the doctor says, okay, give this baby this drug or give that drug. A majority of time, the baby, all the baby needs is um, breast milk, because the breast milk contains water, and that's why we encourage women, if they are not lactating well, we encourage them to drink water. Drink water. Once they drink enough water, there will be enough water to help with production of the milk. So water is essential in breastfeeding mothers.
Okay, somebody asked a question and said, Miss Fiona asked a question. She said, is it because of dehydration that when people have fever, they are administered a drip?
Yes. Like I said, water is important in regulating the body temperature. So if somebody has fever, especially if the fever is very high, we give fluid. Fluid will improve the water circulation in the body. The blood will take most of the fluid and the temperature, it will move the temperature around, and a lot of times you see the person sweating. When the person is sweating, it helps to relieve or reduce the temperature. So water is important. Dehydration can help, can make the person to become to have a high temperature, it can make the person to have fever. So that is why when you take water, it helps a lot to reduce fever, apart from using drugs, because drugs also, especially if what is causing the fever is known, maybe it's malaria, maybe it's bacterial infections and all those things. So water is very important. Water will help to reduce the temperature and also help to improve the body's reaction to the problems.
Okay, so thank you so much, Doc. I'm sure you really touched most of the parts I actually didn't even think about. Yeah, I don't know if anybody asked any has any questions. Somebody's asking, does it help to does water help weight reduction?
In weight reduction, no, I'm not sure water will help in weight reduction. uh, Water is mainly to help the body to function optimally. When you want to reduce weight, you need to work on your fat. Fat is the major reason why we increase in weight. And when you need to reduce weight, you need to expend those fats. You need to work on them and dissipate them as a form of energy. Water can help you to be able to do exercises. Exercises is needed when you are trying to lose weight, so you may need water in that instance. But working directly to lose weight, I am not aware. But in indirect way, exercise, all those things, when you are trying to reduce the amount of food you will eat so that you will drink more water and get filled up easily, water can help in that instance. But directly, I'm not aware.
Yeah, and but I also know that water helps in the detoxification.
In what?
Detoxification.
Yes, because the body has a way of detoxifying itself. The major detoxifying organs in the body are liver and kidneys. There are other organs that detoxify the body anyway. The lungs is also a detoxifying organ because it sends out carbon dioxide, which is toxins to the body. But majorly the kidneys and the liver, they are the ones that are important in detoxifying the body. And water is important for that to happen. So in fact, the major thing when you are trying to detoxify your body is to take water. Take adequate water. Water will go to the kidney. The more water you take, the more your blood volume will be, the more the water will get to the kidney, and the kidney will flush out. That's why you will have to urinate more. But you shouldn't take more than 3 liters in a day, because too much of water too can cause what we call water intoxication, which can also lead to death if you are not careful. So there is always, you don't need to take more than 3 liters in a day, except maybe at times, especially in hot weather, in which your body just wants to take more water because it's losing water through sweat, through your breathing and all those things. Everywhere is just hot, so your body is losing a lot of water, so you may need to drink more to replenish the water. But usually, as long as you take within what is expected, you don't need more than 3 liters in a day.
All right, Doc. Thank you so much. I don't know if anybody has any more questions, so we can let Doctor go, because today was the okay. This is Dr. Shei. He's Instagram finest, doctors that help you get pregnant. If you have anyone trying to get pregnant, send them to Dr. Shei. Dr. Shei helped me. I'm telling you guys, I was trying to get pregnant, and when it happened, I told him it has happened. He was like, do a test. I beg, I'm not sure. I'm tired. I'm not sure. Just do a test. It was like 5 a.m. that morning or 4 a.m., right? And I
Yes.
shared the news with him, and he helped me throughout the pregnancy journey. I had a high risk pregnancy, but this man helped me throughout. I didn't lose my baby, till I had my baby until now. He's an amazing doctor. He has a one-on-one classes and sessions with pregnant women and people who are trying to get pregnant. So I recommend you follow him and share his handle with your friends and your loved ones that are trying to conceive. Thank you, doctor. I really appreciate. I'm sure everybody here thank you too. We love you. Thank you
You're
for the
welcome.
amazing work you do. Thank you for taking out
You're
your time
welcome.
to do this for free. Thank you. We
You're
appreciate.
welcome. No problem.
Thank you,
No
doctor. Have an
problem.
amazing evening. God bless you.
Bye. You too. Bye bye. Take
Yeah,
care,
bye.
everybody. Yeah, good night.
Bye. Stay safe. Yeah, good night.